Okay, what's up, Stokers of Stoke Nation? This is Chad Kroger coming in with the Going Deep with Chad and JT podcast. Guys, before we begin, I want to remind you once again that we are brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, thank you so much for keeping our trims pubed, for looking after our hogs, for making sure that we're looking fresh and clean, because we may still be in the Q-teen, but that does not mean you shouldn't stop grooming.
Do you think that Manscaped works for women as well?
Yeah, for sure.
I do, yeah. You know, the lawnmower, I think, is, you know, applies to any gender.
Works on male and female hedges.
Good call.
That's good. I like, and during coronavirus, we've all had a lot more time to do hedge trimming.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I perfected it.
That was always my issue.
To be braggy.
I didn't have enough time.
Don't brag. Have you done any nice shapes?
Sometimes I'll throw like a message in there. You know?
Nice.
Like, you know, I have a girlfriend, you know, so I'll be like, what's up?
That's nice.
Do you ever play noughts and crosses? You don't call it that.
Tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe.
There we go. Yes.
Do I play it? Yeah, once in a while.
But on your hedge?
No. I got enough hedge to do it, but no.
I could see you doing it. JT, I think you have that in you.
That funky fun.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. I just, you know, I should do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Who are you going to do it with?
Oh, like whom? Oh, who's going to? So, I don't know what you mean exactly. So the other person we play on my hedge together?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's got to be someone special.
And not only, so here's what I would add in, not only somebody special, but somebody, unless you are a complete yogi, but somebody who you know that you're going to win. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be reminded. However, then you could use your Manscaped magic, the wonders that sponsor the show, and then just do another little sort of outline.
That's beautiful synergy. Yeah.
I've never thought about the stakes of the game if you actually do it.
I only just thought about it, and it's clearly what coronavirus is doing to my mind, where I clearly think about things a little too much. They normally wouldn't have crossed my mind.
But you're an intimacy expert.
Now here's the thing. So Chad was saying that he needs a haircut.
Right.
Sorry, I'm rattling on, but Chad was saying he needs a haircut.
Yeah.
And would you trust your girlfriend, and would you trust your new girlfriend? Because you went on a date recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been on a date recently.
So would you trust?
Would I trust her?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
To cut your hair?
Yeah, because I like doing that. I like throwing it all on the other person and be like, I like giving them too much trust early on, and then be like, hey, sink or swim. Like, how's it gonna go?
Because that basically means how wonderful. You see, I see your strategy. What that basically, if you give them too much trust, you know what happens? He gets to be right. You get to be right, and you're like, see?
Yeah, exactly.
I knew you'd get up. I'm right, and I don't have to be with someone.
But what if they drill it?
If they drill it, then you have like this perfect, amazing person, and you're going to have to expand that beautiful, amazing heart of yours.
Right. Yeah.
And you're going to have to be like, maybe this is the one.
Yeah, it's a roll of the dice.
I don't think I could do it.
Don't you?
That's true.
No, it's.
I think we need to see this.
It's so much part of my identity. I need, Jess is my trusted professional. She knows what she's doing, and I don't know. But I would be down for tic-tac-toe in the hedge area. To be like to build trust.
That'd be cool.
Why do you call it tic-tac-toe?
Well, I didn't name it. I don't know. I think because...
why is it called tic-tac-toe?
Good point. Why is it called tic-tac-toe?
Because we call it noughts and crosses. and when I say we, as in I grew up in England and I'm now an American citizen.
Oh, congrats, yeah.
Thank you very much.
As of last month, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, had sex as an American for the first time.
Oh, congrats. That's
Apparently I'm more vocal, confident. I'm just like rocking it. And I'm really working on the Valley Girl accent as well,
nice.
And no, I'm very, very proud to be American. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so in England, they call it noughts and crosses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like British terms often make much more sense than American. Sort of like the metric system makes more sense. Like our buddy Dan, he told me that a period is called a full stop.
No, yes.
Right.
I thought you was going. Yes. And
No,
I was like, a period is a period. Oh my God! I mean, can you imagine as a woman and as a teenager growing up in America? I just no wonder there's so much anxiety when it's constantly reading period. Oh my God! What have I got my period? Am I showing what? It's like I know it doesn't make much sense, but it's a full stop.
Right.
It's a full stop. We don't actually have half stops. Commas aren't called half stops, but that would be fun.
He was writing something. He's like, forgive my accent, but he's like, all right, now, full stop. I was like, what? He's like, full stop. I was like, oh, period. He's like, yeah. It was just a lot of confusion there for like 2 minutes. We were kind of just staring at each other.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Well, it is. It's wild. It's wild to you guys, but just how did a full stop or how did the end of a sentence be called the same thing as women's menstruation? How is that possible? And I'm a linguist in the sense of like neuro-linguistic therapy. So I like really pay attention to language.
Yeah.
And I'm like, surely there's some fucking confusion there.
But I can't understand I can see how it'd be confusing, but I can't understand.
Well, what if we called periods periods erections?
I like that.
Right?
But I don't know what would happen.
It's like oh, you're in like 3rd grade and they're like, now remember to put an erection at the end of your sentence.
Oh my gosh, I so know what you guys are going to do next. She says, as suddenly your producer, you have got to, I don't know, go to the school board, please, and can we just take out period and add in? Doesn't have to be full stop.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
So whenever we have a word in our mind, so we create a meaning.
Yeah.
And it's like with this, coronavirus stuff, or I love the way you guys say it, which is Q-teen and what
the C virus.
The C virus, and she said something else the other day, which made me laugh, and I was like, that's how we should be saying it, quite frankly.
Thank you for the word.
But my pleasure. But it's whenever we have a word and we have that meaning. And then we see that word. So if we think, right, here's let me show rather than tell. So, okay, we're going to watch, and we know that you love a bit of Melania. So, Chad, when you think of, thank you, my love. Oh my God, if I didn't feel clumsy before, I do now. When you think of the word Melania, what comes up for you? You'll pretend your girlfriend isn't listening.
Yeah. Good fashion sense, a sultry look, fire hair, great brain.
She's genius. She was awarded a genius visa.
Yeah.
She what?
She was awarded a genius visa. I'll tell you.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
White buffalo. I get aggressive because then I think about Donald.
Yeah, it must be really hard for you.
Mm-hmm.
But can you see how his body's moving and he's in a bit of a nice happy state?
I was worried I was forcing it, but I don't know.
So if you think of the word, right?
This is
I can
probably
imagine.
a little less socially important, but we were going to try and do that with hangovers.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to change the words so that maybe that could lessen the awfulness of it. because like we felt like if you could call it like joyful suffering instead of a hangover or something like that, that could give it meaning that would make it less kind of painful to go through.
That's brilliant.
Sure.
That's brilliant. So you keep the full stop the same. You keep the full stop.
Look, our hearts are in the right place.
Yeah.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm no genius when it comes to women, but I'm here to help, all right? Whatever anybody needs, I fully support it. Name it whatever you want.
I like it.
Yeah.
The care is there. But I like joyful suffering. There's a candle. See, I'm going to have to buy you my candle now. There's a wonderful shop in downtown LA called Do Not Enter. And it's a really cool shop. And they have a candle there with beautiful scents. And across it says anti-hangover.
Oh,
Anti-hangover.
nice.
Yeah.
It helps?
So I haven't got it. I got the one which said, I think it was like anti-asshole or
Nice.
anti-bitches, just for friends present.
So are you a practicing sex therapist?
Yes.
So you have like clients come into an office and they run their issues by you?
Yeah. So I started off as a sex therapist. So I started off as a news anchor, actually, in the UK, and sort of had a career in media, and then was like, oh, I want something more, and because I had these like wonderfully fucked up relationships.
How are they wonderfully fucked up?
Oh, they were really wonderfully fucked up. I married a con man who was wanted by the FBI in 2 states. So they're wonderfully.
Was he a lot of fun,
fucked
though?
up. Very intelligent, but no, not so much fun.
Right.
Although I would have definitely.
Yeah, I didn't mean
given
to
him,
make light of it. I'm sorry.
I would. Oh no, do. He's dead now. Shit.
Oh, shit, he passed? Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
fix that, I got you.
but well, perhaps, yeah. He's no longer here, and it wasn't me. just saying. So after a series of bad relationships, and I kind of fell into sex therapy. Because the training I was doing was both sex and relationships. And I was like, I can't talk about sex. I'm British. Oh, my God. And then I loved it. They were like, well, can you talk about emotions in sex? And so that's how I started off. And that was at the beginning of my career, at the beginning of my sort of therapy, sort of helping career. And and it was great. I mean, it is absolutely fascinating talking to my love of men beforehand was great. My love of men, well,
I don't know, it just cracks me up for some reason. Well, because you know what? I think most people, I would imagine, I guess because my assumption was that someone would have the opposite reaction. Like the more intimately you got to know men, I would think you would dislike them more.
Oh, no,
yeah,
they're
but
fabulous.
so I'm just like, it actually makes me joyful that you got to know men more and then you were actually like, no, they're actually better than I thought. Yeah.
Oh, they are sweethearts, which is like
Nice.
a broad generalization. But it's really interesting. Men are actually, and sorry, women are fabulous in so many ways, but actually men can be much more romantic than women.
Yeah.
So ask a man and a woman and a couple, like, oh, when did you first meet? And I'm just going to do a little teaser earlier on because I've decided to do a little quiz for you both so that we can all find out about you.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
And that may be kind of like one of the questions. But when you ask them, what were you wearing when you first met? The man will remember what she's wearing. And I was stunned by that. And the woman would be like, hold on, I don't even know what year it is. And it's the same I think I've got some kind of numbered, dyslexia. But that's my excuse. Because you can't say anything then, can you? It's like, how long have you been married? I don't know. Long time.
Right.
But yeah, I would say that my husband is much sweeter than I am.
Oh, nice.
Much consistently, more consistently sweeter.
I've always sort of, and maybe it's like do you think it's been a trend in the past like 30 to 40 years that men have gotten a little bit more romantic and it's like a little role reversal, or do you think it's always kind of been that way?
It's a really interesting question. I think men are expressing it more.
Yeah.
And how I work now is it's moved beyond just sex. Though sex is a sort of very important part, and beyond just relationships, and it goes to sort of like the bigger picture of this whole thing of like this inner greatness that we have. Like we are born, we are love, we are complete and utter love. And I know it's like a bit woo woo, but it isn't. It's anyway wonderful and all such things. And I think men have it. It's interesting having worked in London. What was interesting is in London it's so cosmopolitan. So I would see people from India and Sweden and Australia and New Zealand and America, Japan, across the range, and English guys. And then working in America, seeing so many American men, it's really, really interesting with how I think in America there is more of a pressure in comparison to England to be
macho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
for sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's soul crushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
And it's that's sorry, I was
Oh no, yeah. It's I feel like a lot of the people we talk to, and for myself too, it's like a lot of young men have this like these fantasies of like big romantic, like occurrences. I don't know the right word, but like they just have these fantasies of romance, and a lot of them act out on it, early on. But then I feel like they're kind of conditioned by society to be like, no, you got to be alpha, So because if you're too romantic, if you're too into them, you'll scare them away. So it's like I feel like it's kind of beaten out of them a little bit.
Yeah, which is BS, and then a whole load of other issues come up, because then you're basically saying to somebody, "Don't be you," and that's it. Don't be you.
Right.
Don't be creative, because what is love? It's creativity. That's that is us.
That's a nice way to describe
That's
it.
like
Yeah.
our essence.
That is what it feels like too, when you get inspired by someone else and you start doing things to make them happy that are outside of like normal thoughts you would have. Like you're broadening your thinking in a way, and then you're like, oh, I can't believe and it feels good to come up with a cute idea for somebody else. You're like, I can't believe I came up with that. Like I'm a cute person, and then you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. And you are a cute person.
Right.
And
Come on.
Well, no, you are. But what? So, do you share how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 32. Yeah.
29.
Right. Okay. I was roughly right. I definitely thought 20s, late
Okay,
20s.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank
and
you.
so, do you think that your generation of men are struggling with what you're talking about, as in struggling with sort of showing themselves or sharing themselves? I think
Yeah, I think totally. I think it's I think we're just like, we learn, because of the way society is or whatever, we're just kind of like, I feel like men are kind of like put in this position where they have to play it too cool, so like they aren't being themselves, and it's just like, so I think there has to be some kind of meet them in the middle somewhere. I don't really, yeah.
And I think too, I was just exposed to too much like theorizing on how to like be good with women. You know what I mean? Like since I was in like seventh grade, I remember like my friends and I were always consuming media that was like telling us porn, but also like the Game, that book by like Neil Strauss on like how to pick up women. That was like super like kind of, and he was critiquing it too, but most people bought it as more of like a manual rather than like a critique. And like, we all try to be ironic when we read it and be like, oh no, I'm just reading it as like, but it does slip into your thinking, and then you're trying to like be someone you're not because you think it'll make you more successful at something. And I think that's like, I don't know, it can kind of be, it can make you isolate from yourself in a way, because you're like, you're not really learning to be yourself. You're learning to like try and like win at something. And yeah.
You're such a deep soul, isn't he? You're and oh my gosh, how have you not got like 20 women. You've got to share this with women. You've got to share you with the world.
Well, but then you'd start telling women that, and then that becomes a way to, everything turns into like a thing that you're using at some point sometimes, right?
What do you mean, a thing that you're using?
Well, like, because then you can like, I don't know, because I sometimes like, so I'll say something like that, and then someone's like, oh, that's like a likable thing that you said, and then I'm like, okay, so I should say that thing more. And then so the idea of me being soulful or self-aware about my like earlier conditioning then becomes something that I can get stuff out of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that then, once you have that thought, then you can go, oh,
Later.
hold on a minute. I'm thinking about the other. And it's interesting because if you take it away from yourself and do it only as a way to please,
Right.
then that's something. But if you go, oh gosh, that's nice, she really likes that kind of thinking, that kind of sort of expansion of perception and thinking outside of the box,
Right.
then that's like, then you can talk about other things in the
Right.
same way. So that then becomes really nice. And oh wow, if she likes it, then you can go, oh wow, that's cool. So we really connect in how we think
Right.
versus how I need to be. And so then that's where you should focus.
Yeah.
Which
Focus
sounds
on the
like
connection.
you focus, focus on the connection and keep your you appreciate it in yourself.
I was always told I was a people pleaser, and I dealt with that a lot. Or I struggled with that a lot in like college and early 20s, where it sort of manifested into a little bit of a drinking problem, which I'm like kind of like, you know, I still booze, I still rage, but you know, I got it under control. Anyways,
but it's interesting because what do we do when we drink? What we do is we try and get beyond that barrier.
Yeah.
And the idea is we get more relaxed,
Yeah.
in theory.
Yeah, well, for me, I was accessing a person that I wanted to be, you know, because I was a little bit more outgoing or extroverted and crazy, you know, and so, and then I was super shy as a kid, so it was like, it was a, and then then you read these things in your like your early 20s, you'd be like, you got to be cool, you got to be like, have like this steel wall up, and it's just like it's so confusing because I'm like, because like I would talk to JT about it, and he's like, I was like, oh, I need to be more assertive, and he's like, but I like that you're nice, and I'm like, yeah, I like being nice too, like why is this an issue, you know?
When you were still super productive and like you were like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it seemed like you had all the qualities of an assertive person without the kind of bullying one. So I was like, I thought it was kind of like the perfect.
Oh, thank you.
It still is, yeah, the perfect thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, it is confusing, I think, for men who are just like, they want to be nice, and they're like, no, you got to be like a fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't imagine well, I can as a woman, obviously as a non-man, I can't imagine what that's like, because you said it so well earlier. It's soul crushing, you know, to be told you have to be a certain way, and you have to, you know, treat women like this and be macho, and big boys don't cry and all this, and it's no, the real men are those that are strong enough to be sensitive, vulnerable, and courageous. You know, that's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Love the hero's journey. Yeah.
Oh, so amazing,
So
isn't
good.
it?
But then I think too, like in my life, where like, because I was kind of a bully and stuff, and I had a tendency to.
Were you?
Yeah, and I would like dominate people like verbally or something, or be aggressive, and then it made people not like me. Like I would dominate them, and I'd feel bad, and everybody else in the room would feel bad. And I made a conscious choice maybe when I was like 23. I was like, what if I was just nice to everybody? And then my whole life got better. Like my relationships got better with like even my family and stuff like that. And I was like, it's been hard to maintain. I don't think I'm as good at it now as I was then, but it was like, it changed everything when I just started being nice. Like people really just wanted to be around me more. And maybe that's the people-pleasing part of myself, but it didn't feel like that because I'm very extroverted. I want people around. So it just felt like they felt safe with me, and that was like a good thing.
And
Yeah.
how amazing is that to make people feel or help people feel safe?
It's the
And,
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is who we are at our core. All the other stuff it's BS. And we think about sort of when we go to school and what we do, we're not taught about the mind and the endless possibilities and like the power of the heart and the, you know, we are love and the strength of kindness and all that stuff. No. It's like conditioning. And no, it's not good. And this is why during, like, you know, the Q-tine. Q-tine, there we go. Q-tine, I was about to say Q-tips. during Q-tip time.
That sounds more fun, actually.
During this time, it's such an opportunity for us all to, because shit comes up when there is stuff going on out there where there's so much uncertainty. It's interesting, you know, when people say, oh my God, the virus, it's making me go crazy. Well, what it's doing is it's triggering.
It's revealing.
Stuff in us. So we have this amazing opportunity to go, whoa, okay, right, there's anxiety here, there's fear here. Okay, what can I do with this? And it isn't it's bigger than the coronavirus. Because if we look at sort of like, okay, this fear in us, this isn't brought on by the coronavirus fully. And of course, there is the situation, which is enormously difficult. But this is how we, you know, kind of what we decided when we were very young and how we can deal, how capable, how competent we believe we are. And as human beings, infinite potential. I just wish, we'll get onto the beef bit later. We'll talk about.
So how much do you think like the bedrock of the kind of way that you do therapy is just convincing people to believe in like the best version of themselves?
Okay, can I show not tell?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so let's. Okay, are you both okay to stand up?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so if you both stand up.
What's up, guys? I'm interrupting this podcast to let you know once again that we are brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, thank you so much for keeping our trims pubed, for looking after our hogs, for making sure that your dongs are looking fresh and clean. And fellas, are you prepared to unveil your summer bod? Manscaped is here to ensure your post-quarantine body is ready for the wild. Don't be the guy at the beach with a bear rug on your chest. And if you grew some more quarantine man tits, the least you can do is make sure they're hairless, okay? Because Manscaped is dedicated to help you level up your full body grooming game. You know, they have the Perfect Package 3.0. You guys know what this is all about. The Essential Lawnmower 3.0, waterproof, cordless body trimmer, liquid formulations, ball toner, pube cleaner, fucking all kinds of stuff, guys. And yeah, so, and guys, I've got a huge announcement for the stokers. They just launched this in Australia. So if you're an Aussie, you've gone years without using the right tools for the job, and you can be one of the first to experience these life-changing products. And trust me, dudes, I've been to Australia. You guys are the best. You guys know how to rage. And I know that once your pubes are in great order, you guys will be the best ragers in history. That's huge. So get the Manscaped Crop Preserver. Get 2 free gifts. For the Shed Travel Bag for a limited time if you subscribe. I love it, dude. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GODEEPWW at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. So get 20% off, free shipping with the code GODEEPWW at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles. All right, later.
And what I want you to do, well, I'll actually have to stand up too. Right, okay. So when you stand up, okay, nice and energized, right. And if we all face the same way, so, okay, there we go.
This?
So our social distance, how do I get in?
Like that?
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
right.
Perfect. There.
Yeah, keep
So we all
maybe
check-
stay close to the mic
There.
too.
Oh yeah. So, thank you. That would be where the camera is. Right. Okay. So we're all facing the same way. So what we want to do is, and this is like the experience of. Well, I won't unpack it first, but this is just answering the question of what's possible. So, right. So point sort of straight ahead, and anyone can do this at home as well. So you're pointing straight ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn round, but we're going to keep our hips facing, so we're not going like that. Yeah, we're keeping our hips facing the front, and if you just watch me first of all, then so turning round, and we're turning round as far as we can possibly go, keeping the hips to the front as far as we can go, making sure it is the absolute best. And once you've seen where it is, keep an eye on that, know where it is, and then come back. Okay. Did you surprise yourself at how far you could go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, why are you giggling?
I love it.
Okay, so that's that. So that's the conscious mind. So now let's get into the magic. So now what I want you to do is, again, facing the, look, my boiler suit's nearly falling off. I'll be jailbird, right. So now, so still facing the front. Now what I want you to do is, now I just like adding a little bit more, sort of like big smile on our face. Whenever we smile, we get beautiful signals to our brain that we're happy. So keeping a smile on our face. And I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. And you can giggle through it, it's fine. So closing, and that's joy, which is wonderful. So I want you to imagine going, that place on the wall, yeah? Can you see the place on the wall where you just pointed at? Both of you, yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
perfect, okay. So as you see that place on the wall now, I want you to imagine and see yourself going even further and brighten those colours and just see yourself going even further, even though what you just said was that was the best and you surprised yourself. Okay, so now open your eyes and now do it again. You're exactly the same. Surprised?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got pretty far.
I got pretty, I had
got
about
pretty deep.
15 degrees, I think.
I was over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I started there to.
And
I
that-
went from this
right?
side of the television to that side of the, and that's about
Yeah.
a what is that, like 38-inch television?
Dude.
Isn't
Yeah.
that cool? And
Very
that
cool.
is the power of the mind. So we tell ourselves, I can do this. And it can take a lot of effort for us to go, oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, no, let me, get my best self there. I can do it. What we're doing is just let's just fuck the logical thinking and just go into that magical, that magical place, where you said earlier about like that essence, that real self, and just look at the infinite possibilities. So that's the first time you did it. So now imagine what you can do when you practice. I mean, I'm not saying you have to practice that and that's going to be your party trick, but just imagine. And so that's how we use the mind. And
Right.
so to answer your question, and your great question, I sort of see myself as, an inner greatness coach, because it's all about the inner greatness, because start off inside, then it projects outside. And then I help people with, I like to say I was sort of work in 5D, because we're 5-dimensional. That was impressive. That's like me when I'm if I go out and slam the door and wanting to be dramatic, and then it just like goes. Anyway, not that I ever do that because I'm so zen, except once a month. period. What's my new word? Fiesta.
On the fiesta.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, right, we need a new word for when women go into menopause, because otherwise the fiesta stops. And then it's like, shit, our life's really over.
Right.
After party.
The siesta.
After party.
After party. Oh, the
Whoa.
siesta?
Yeah, or after party. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Siesta. After
Rest.
party.
Yeah, but it's not a rest.
Or, yes, Studio 54.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah, glamorous.
Yeah, and that's that can be sort of like round about the age as well.
Oh, yeah,
It's just perfect.
Yeah, I didn't even consciously think about that, but after I said it, I was like,
Good.
that was impressive. Nice word.
There we go. And that's what you're doing, as in, oh my gosh, I didn't consciously think about it. You're just like, we're just unlocking ourselves. And that's
Right.
just what's amazing and beautiful.
So how do you...
Talk to a man about his dick. No.
Well, small dong shame will come up for sure. But I guess. So how do you help that to translate? So, you know, what do you sort of tell a patient or someone you're seeing? A client. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
What do you sort of tell a client to help them to further unlock that? I guess that's a really general question, but like, what's sort of the method to realize that?
So it's like a bliss system. So
Right.
biohacking, love, intuitive intelligence, it's got 2 eyes, and self-success. And it's all about, when I talk about sort of biohacking, it's, you know, a bit of a sort of buzzword, but it's about how we work with our system that we have, and we use, and I'm sort of trained and study in ancient techniques as well as modern techniques of how to, using our breath, how we use our breath to get our systems in alignment, how we get to the heart through you know, numerous techniques, how we use our mind, how we use our physiology. So again, if I do a show not tell, so if we think of ourselves in 5D, so with 5-dimensional, so body, breath, and that's why the small dong shame, which we can talk about, not saying that you've written in to me, and that's how we know each other. Joking, John. But the small dong shame.
It was me. I'm just kidding.
So the body.
The end of the email is like, this is not Chad.
Yeah. Body, breath, mind. And the mind has different parts. The intellect, which is we get stuck in the intellect. We can get stuck in the memory. That sort of causes the problem. The heart with a small h, which is like, you know, the physical heart, but sort of also what we call sort of, you know, the intuition, that first, you know, aspect of creativity. And then what I call the quantum self. So the sort of the consciousness, the essence, that sort of aspect. And that we don't go from here to here, but we've got to think of ourselves as 5-dimensional. We can think
How
of
did
ourselves
you come up with those dimensions?
from sadly not being what was I going to say? Not being God. I didn't come, but the ancient, so Vedanta is an ancient Indian system. So there they talk about sort of this seven sort of experiences of our lives, where you in yoga, let's just say yoga, basically
Right.
you've got body and the breath, and it isn't the American yoga that we think of. It's very
Right.
much sort of how yoga was, or sort of when, you know, what I learned from India so well is the body is just one aspect of it. The only reason that we're doing is sort of certain positions is because it helps to create a calm mind. And so how do we use our breath? We're using our breath in a particular way, and we can get into these altered states. So I just, having trained in and being a trainer of NLP, which is just so brilliant with regards to learning and understanding the mind, and then combining it with, you know, my love and interest of ancient wisdom, you know, from the Vedanta system, particularly in
Right.
India, I've sort of combined the two. And so if we and sort of like working with people and seeing what works. So the body, which we know we are the body, the breath, and that's very much from the Indian system, yoga, the yoga philosophy, the yoga science, the mind. And how we use the mind here is different. But what's it's like, Chad, when you said about patience. So for me, as soon as we talk about, like, I like, having patience with the CE and not with a TS, because to me this isn't if somebody's depressed. I'm not, oh gosh, okay, you have chronic, this is, what does the DSM 20,070, I mean, we don't have the DSM in the UK, but here, the DSM, what does that say? No, that's just another label. And I want to get, I think labels can be useful, it can give an intellectual understanding, but it can be a pathology. And so what is a pathology? Well, somebody can be depressed. Well, okay, that's an energy issue. It's how they're thinking. It's how they're using their mind with the pictures in their mind. It's what they've decided. It's their conditioning. And we know that we can, in many cases, break through that when we learn how to work with our 5 dimensions and align them. But if we just work with an intellectual, it's like if you break an arm and oh, you've broken your arm. Oh, shit, that's why my arm hurts. Well, then what? Is your arm healed? Does it stop hurting?
Right, so you want to give them like a new language rubric that will like basically make their mind picture a better world.
Yeah, help them. So it's all about them being the creator. So not just being part of creation, being
Don't
the
take
creator.
the words that other people gave you. Come up with your own.
Yeah, exactly, and also how the mind program, like how we think. If somebody had said, it's so interesting. So if you change, okay, so let's do another show not tell. So if we is there something that you say to yourself when, both of you, where you get frustrated, or you can be like, oh man, and say something in a critical voice?
Yeah, what do I say? To myself? Like talking to myself?
Yeah. You sort of hear yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do I say? I don't get mad that often, so let me...
That's good. That's good brain.
That's great.
It's a good brain, dog.
You're like... If something's not, I'll be like, oh, this fucking thing.
Right, okay, this fucking thing. Right. So as you say, and what do you say? Just, and it can
like
be
when
anything.
I'm being hard on myself?
Yeah.
I say like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're too obsessed with
Okay, just start with
winning.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not good enough. So if you say that to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you do that now.
Yeah, you're not good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you experience that, where are you experiencing it, both of you? When you're like, oh, this fucking thing.
I sort of experience it like, I guess in here a little bit.
Yeah, east and west of my chest, I
Oh,
guess.
I like that, east and west.
Yeah.
I love that. Just south of the nipples.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did I? Is this when I'm like frustrated or like when I'm down on myself?
So it can be anything, just anything
Okay.
when you're sort of like basically creating that stress response in your body. So you're creating that stress response where it's like, and you can feel it, and you can feel that tension. Both of you can feel the tension. For JT, south of the nipples. Always south of the nipples.
East,
Sorry.
west.
East, west, and south. And so now, what I want you to do is, if you say those words and like imagine who is like a cartoon character that makes you laugh.
It's a cartoon character.
Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson, perfect. And JT for you.
Yeah, the cop from The Simpsons. What was his name?
Oh, Chief Wiggum?
Yeah, he always makes me laugh. Yeah, Chief Wiggum. Yeah.
Right, so now if you say the same thing in Chief Wiggum's voice, and you say that in Homer Simpson's voice,
It's really sad. it's you're not good enough. I think I've seen those characters. The Simpsons is good that way, where those characters have probably had those moments.
Yeah, well, my mind just goes to, it's pretty much the same as, dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And so you change the voice.
Yeah.
And you change the sound, and
it's
it
easier
changes the meaning.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because we have a tendency to hate on ourselves the most too, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll think back on mistakes I made when I was in like my teen years, and I'll be like, all right, well, what would you say if you could talk to that kid? And I'd be like, I'd like rub the back of his neck, and I'd be like, just relax, bro. You know what I mean? I can have compassion for that person when I'm distanced from it. Yeah.
And that's really important, because that is your essence. Like you're full of love.
Right.
That is like, and full of kindness. The hard bit, it's like we talk about change and change being difficult. Well, not changing is difficult, because actually all this other stuff is not us.
Have you ever had a patient that you were just like, this guy's just a scumbag?
Yes.
And then, so was it the same?
Show them the door.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, you said, look, you can't fix you, bro.
You're fucked.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had like, and this is like a
sociopath, just unable to feel empathy for others, or what was it?
Yeah. And now, and there are some. I mean, I've had a few, because not recently. Since I've gone sort of more into sort of like a new space and doing more coaching than just sort of therapy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult when you hear somebody talking about like an elderly dog and the girlfriend looking after this like really old dog, and the guy, I mean, this is like, you know, let's pretend it was a cat or a dog, I mean, whatever, but the guy just going, I mean, I agree to move in because the dog is 15 and I thought the dog would have been dead now, and she has just been feeding it herbal remedies and it keeps living. And I'm like, there's enough love to go around for everyone. It's okay. And just like, and you're just like,
but that's the most evil guy you had? He just hated the dog?
But it's...
I thought you would have like a serial killer or something.
I did have one that was close.
Really? Did he get arrested ever?
No, he had been.
Oh, okay.
You know, a few times. And I wouldn't work with somebody if, like, everybody, you were talking about darkness earlier on, and even in the darkness, there is a glimmer of light. And I won't work with somebody. There's no way that I'll work with somebody if I don't like them.
Right.
It's for me now, sort of as a coach, because there is so much intimacy, and like I'm on the journey with them, and they're in my head, and yeah. And
so you think about your patients when you're not with them and stuff?
Oh God, yes, often. Although, and remember, I was saying I call them clients.
Sorry.
Because, no, don't apologise. Don't apologise. They are clients, just like I'm a client of Target, you know, where I go in there, as in,
right.
you know, I mean, I know you say customer, but in the sense of we're co-creating something. The model that we have, we very much pathologise. And so it's interesting, I remember Drew saying to me, Dr. Drew saying, he was like, God, so what does therapist mean? We don't have therapist here. We don't have a psychotherapist here. And I was like, well, yeah, in the UK, you know, it's like when we talk about feelings and stuff. And he was like, oh, no, here we have a psychologist. And it's interesting because in the UK, psychologists are, you know, they deal sort of a bit more with
like neuroscientists or something like that.
OCD and you know, more sort of like specific targeted, you know,
right.
issues. and we'll have general therapists, you know, and they'll just be talking about feelings, and it won't be like, oh my God, okay, you have this label, you have this label, you have this label. Oh great, I've got a label, now I can continue being. I have now a new identity. I now have confirmation that, you know, whether it's like I am codependent, I am this, I am that. If we talk about, you know, beefs, that's one of my beefs, and it's, I have to be sort of sensitive here because there are many different ways, and if something is useful for somebody, then it's useful for somebody, and that's great. But sometimes, like the identity, let's say somebody says, oh, I've been codependent for 20 years and I'm in a happy, healthy relationship. So, i.e., they're no longer codependent and they really are in a happy, healthy relationship. It's like, well, you're not a really fucking good codependent then. So why go and
we're
keep
a little
the
quick.
label?
They're a little, you know, I got diagnosed bipolar, and at the time I loved it. I was so happy to be diagnosed with something. I just described my life to this psychiatrist, and he was like, you're bipolar. And I was coming off a lot of drug and webcam porn addiction craziness. And I cried out of happiness when he told me, because I was like, oh my God, finally an answer. But I got medicated on Seroquel. And, you know, guys, don't take that, you know, talk to a doctor. I worry about like influencing people or something, but I hope everyone gets it, that everyone's different. And I think it worked for me. Like, I used to do crazy shit. I'd like drive on the freeway doing like 100 and like masturbate at the same time. I haven't done that since I got medicated.
Wow.
Yeah, so when people ask me like, does the medicine work? I'm like, well, I used to do that and now I don't. So I think it works. But my doctor now, and I've seen a couple psychiatrists, none of them think I'm bipolar. They think I have anxiety disorder now. And the doctor who diagnosed me bipolar has actually kind of walked it back after getting to know me for a couple years. So I feel weird because I told people for a while I was bipolar, and I believed it. I didn't think I had like an intense case of it. I thought I had like a dusting of it, I guess I would say. But now I don't think I'm that anymore. Now I'm kind of convinced I have some kind of extra thing going on, but that they don't know what it is yet. And maybe 50 years from now or 100 years from now, they'll have like a more exact definition. But for now, I'm kind of in between things. But I know the medicine and the therapy, it works for me. But I hear what you're saying with like these labels. It's like, you know, we probably, you know, I've had people who have gone through breakups. They're like, I'm codependent. I'm like, I don't know if you're codependent. I think you were just in a bad relationship. You know what I mean? And it's like,
and for you, it's interesting because I think where we can get stuck is if the label sticks, or you look, if we have a label and we use that label as a way to not go beyond.
Oh, do you think the labels can be limiting?
Yeah. Now I want to be careful with, you know, something like bipolar, but let's say
it's like ADD.
Yeah. Let's say
I was so pumped when I got diagnosed ADD, and I don't even think I am.
I mean, this is hilarious
I don't
because
think
you
you
just
are
seem
either.
like,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
just
but
like so chill.
Well, my test was like, he had like a picture of a room, and he's like, point out all the things there. And I forgot what a windowsill was. I was like, oh, crap. And he's like, dude, you're ADD. And
oh, that's good.
Dude, I had the same thing. After my test, they're like, you didn't test for ADD? Whatever the test. They gave me like a 6-hour test, and they're like, but anyone who's met you knows you're ADD.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because if we think about what our brain is given, so, and I'm going to get the numbers wrong because I know that they've increased, but per second, oh God, I am going to get the number. Oh yes, no. When the study was first done, think how many, like, name a number of how many bits of information your brain gets bombarded with per second.
It's gotta be in the thousands.
How do I define what a bit is? I guess that's what I'm sure.
So imagine,
but I don't want to get bogged down.
No, it's okay. So imagine a bit of information. So just forget the bits of information. So just go with it. Ask your unconscious mind.
All right, bro. How many bits you taking in? I'm taking in 3,000.
Right. So you both said in the thousands.
How many did you say?
I said thousands.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you're like, I mean, and that's pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Our brains are running parallel. That's nice, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you love each other.
Yeah.
We were we were talking to a journalist last
Uh-huh.
week because of our viral thing, and she's like, "Are you together?" like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was funny that people.
Yeah, it was sweet. I was
Yeah.
like,
We
no,
jacuzzi
but like, yeah,
sometime.
we jacuzzi, yeah. I mean, I would, but we don't. But like, I'm, if Chad wanted to, I'm whatever. And he has a girlfriend, and yeah, but we're not.
But maybe you can play noughts and maybe you could play tic-toc-toe or whatever it's called to them.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that would be a bit weird. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to the bits of information.
Plus, we got to work together too. You start bringing in that other
Yeah,
stuff gets
yeah.
complicated. Yeah.
Once you start tic-tac-toeing the hedges,
Yeah.
that's when the partnership just
Yeah.
falls apart.
So when the test was first done, I think it was in 2006 or something like that. It was 1 to 2 million bits of information that our brains scan.
How much?
1 to 2 million.
Wow.
So about
Yeah.
2 million.
That sounds about right.
2 million.
Yeah.
Now, so that was in 2006. Now imagine, so it was probably around 11 million bits of information, of stimulation that we have to sift through before we go, okay, hold on. Yes, I recognize that. So that weight reminds me of a gym I went to in, I don't know, 230 BC.
Right.
I really don't go to gyms. Or like, you two remind me of, two amazing legends. Okay,
Oh,
great.
dude,
So
nice.
I'll take that piece of information.
Back
in,
at you.
yeah? So then, like, imagine now, like, that. No wonder people have got ADD. And what are we doing? Because, well, are we focusing on breath? Are we, like... No, we're like, social media, this. And this is why it's interesting about coronavirus, like having the sudden stop where it's like, whoa, okay, hold on a minute. And I don't know have you found in the uncertainty and anxiety, and have you found pleasure in... I was going to say pleasure in small things, and then, I don't want to, like,
Yeah, sure. I
mention
catch
any dongs,
Yeah.
But, but have you found sort of in simple things that you normally wouldn't have found pleasure in?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've tried to disconnect a little bit. Actively like going on walks and stuff. A better appreciation for walks. Walking barefoot in the park, trying some grounding.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Whenever we had some stuff that was like, we were just like I had a lot of anxiety before it. I walked barefoot in the park, and I did really feel just a relaxation come over me.
It's the best.
How
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And-
so good.
And then paddling out in the ocean, we had like another thing that we've had a lot of like anxiety. It's just like big things that stress me out. So I went paddling out and just paddled from like lifeguard tower to lifeguard tower. I felt great.
Yeah, how lovely.
Simple movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's that wonderful sort of reset where, go back to the beginning where we were talking about like really connecting with a slower, newer, different part where we've had to and are continuing to deal with such uncertainty, and where we have awoken to the idea of, oh, hold on a minute, I've been pretending that there are things that are certain.
Right.
And and now suddenly it's like really in our face. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we have to deal with this. And so it's this, I mean, it's amazing. It's literally like being on this. When I say it's amazing, I mean it is an opportunity, and it's unprecedented and such a difficult situation. But with it, imagine what we can learn from this about ourselves and like who we really are.
Yeah, it's one thing that's been. My mom sent me a cartoon, like a Dilbert cartoon,
Oh,
about the quarantine, and the guy's like, "How's your quarantine?" And the guy's like, "Best time of my life," and the other guy's like, "I didn't want to be the first to say it." But anyways,
That's great.
so we had this big project that we were working towards, like dream level project. and then coronavirus hit like 2 weeks before. So, but it was it was such like a blessing because it helped to I sort of was like, especially you're just looking forward to like, okay, these things, once I get these things, it's like, you find like I'm pretty happy, but you find like more happiness. Like that's when I'll be truly like fully happy, and then when you have something like this come along, I've found it to be such a blessing because it's like you reevaluate. You're like, oh, it's made me sort of look inwards and just be like, no, it's to remember that it's the journey, and it's just like learning and having fun and moment to moment and not so focused on the result. So, and
when we're focused on the results, that drives anxiety.
Yeah.
And which is really interesting because we're kind of taught, and even in sort of coaching, where it's like, oh, what's the goal? What's the goal? What's the goal? Focus on the goal.
Yeah.
And it's like, and actually that can drive, if we're so focused on the goal, that can lead to anxiety, overwhelm.
Yeah.
It's I have a reminder in my phone, just like have fun.
Oh.
Because if I am so like goal oriented, where I'm just like, no, just have fun today. But it's good to remember that. But it can be tough. Just
absolutely, and especially. I mean, it's like. Who is it? I can't remember. A girlfriend of mine was like, "Oh God, Corona dream crusher," and like when it's that whole thing of, well, I don't know. I mean, I can't pretend to understand it, but I can say that I believe for you two, and especially how you're talking about it, that this is going to set you up, because in life, and especially in your industry, there are left turns all the time. And I remember a very good friend of mine, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying, Dr. Drew, sort of, oh my gosh, the stories he has told me where he's literally been on set and cameras have been rolling, and then it's like, oh no, we've given it to blah blah blah, and he's like, oh good, I've just been initiated into Hollywood, wonderful. Right. And you hear about, whether it's like, I heard Jim Carrey talking the other day, and I can't remember what he said, and where was he interviewed? It was on sort of one of the late night shows. And he just, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I think of Jim Carrey as like, oh, sure, he's the funny guy and he's talented and he's this. And he just is like, yeah, when life has given me knocks, and boy, has life given me knocks. And then he said, and every time I think about my dad, and his dad has passed, every time I think about my dad, like I well up, I cry. And it was just so beautiful and lovely. And so, my point being, I'm sort of going off on a tangent, but my point being that through these experiences, and you guys know this, and I've heard you talk about it, so I'm just mirroring back what you're saying, this is going to make you stronger, because it's like, okay, we dealt with that, and please God, anything in the future, there's going to be things that fly in the direction that you want. And like in India, I'm going to do the accent. I'm half Indian. I'm allowed to, and I'm my wonderful teacher there. One of my teachers, Dr. Risha. Expectations reduce joy, and it's so true. Like we think and we expect, and it's like we get happy when our expectations are what we want them to be, and then we get pissed off when they're not. And hold on a minute, we don't know what's going to happen in the next second, the next millisecond, let alone, when there are so many different moving parts. And it is brutal when things like, when you have a dream and it's like, whoa, hold on, when something is so out of your control, and then you're holding on to, okay, right, like, what is this bringing up in me? And how you can use that. And it's so interesting, like we were talking about in the hero's journey, and I use that a lot in my work as well. Like when you get that test and that challenge, and you get past that, then wow, what happens? You return, you come back to tell the tale. And then when you get the bigger dream, because this is one dream, and then you get the bigger dream, and then the bigger dream, and the bigger dream. It sets you up. I listened to Conan the other day, and do you ever? I mean, he's like a comedy great, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, icon.
And I listened to him, and it was so interesting. He was talking about when he was a writer. Who was it? That's right. He was interviewing Tom Hanks.
Oh,
and
nice.
and it's
a charm offensive right there.
Yeah, definitely worth like looking it up, because it was so interesting. Because Conan there, Tom Hanks was saying, and this is something extraordinary. Tom Hanks at the beginning, sort of, when Conan was there, they met however many years ago, and Conan was a writer on SNL, and before he had the talk show, and he said the pressure to come up with a bit, to come up with, whatever, a segment bit.
Right.
And he says the other writers had come up with it, and he hadn't come up with anything. And he said it is just that sickening, awful pressure where it just like how he was describing it. I was like, oh my God, hold on a minute. This is Conan O'Brien, who is like, we now know decades later, has been so brilliantly successful. Oh, hold on a minute. He still has, especially when he's learning, had that like intense anxiety and oh shit. And he was supposed to be doing something with Tom Hanks. And so it's what we can do really well as humans is think that we're the only one that has anxiety or going through this certain thing, where this is like all part of our learning. And especially like when you were talking about, so I know I'm sort of going on about like just when you were saying about sort of the COVID, when COVID hit, sort of when you were talking about like, especially when it's the first one. So imagine Dr. Drew when he's, had this amazing career, or Conan O'Brien. Oh, I keep calling him Conan. It is Conan O'Brien.
Yep.
Yeah, but how like somebody so great, and Tom Hanks as well. So Tom Hanks, I'm thinking, would go in there, Saturday Night Live, rock it, do the Tom Hanks thing. He was there with the writers like throughout the night, sleeping on the floor.
Right.
So there's Tom Hanks there, like really, really making sure that like he could put in his all. And point being is people, we can think that people
have it easier, but it's hard for everybody.
Yeah Especially
true.
when they care, and when we're growing, and when we want to learn, and when we want to be our best. So
it's true. Do you want to do, should we do let's do let's do your questions, and then we'll do our questions quick, and we'll just have to cruise through the beefs, babes, and legends quickly.
Oh, what do you want to do first? Because this is your podcast.
No, let's do your questions, and then we'll transition. Yeah.
Okay, so I sort of feel like we need some background music, but it's fine.
I think it might get it taken down on YouTube.
And we'll get. I heard you the other day, 15 seconds. So
appreciate you listening.
Oh, of course, you guys are great. So, okay, this is just our warm-up questions.
All right.
So, Chad. What do you remember thinking to yourself the first time you saw JT? Hopefully that journalist won't be listening, or else she'll be like, but anyway.
Oh, man.
So perfect for your fans.
Hilarious. He's just like this, like, I was like, oh, what a lovable bro.
Oh.
Yeah.
How old were you?
It was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, we met again doing performing. So really, our second friendship began when we were a little bit older. So doing stand up and shit. Yeah.
Okay, JT, what do you remember thinking to yourself when you first saw Brad?
Chad,
why do I keep calling you Brad? I'm so sorry. See, it's my ADD. I mean, hormones.
I thought this guy's too happy and well adjusted to be doing stand up.
Theo Von said the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, you seem really happy, bro.
Yeah. I was like, because you're at these open mics, and they're the saddest places you've ever been. Everyone, is mentally fucked up. Everyone's desperate. Everyone's I always say an inch wide and a mile deep. And and then Chad was just there, and he looked like he was having a great time. And I was like, this motherfucker's out of his mind. I was like, this shit sucks. But he was having a ball. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I loved open mics. They're so fun because I was like, because I was like, it was like you had the ability to progress your career, and it was in your hands. You weren't going to auditions and waiting for people to pick you. And like every time you got a new bit, it was fun, even though no one laughs at those things.
You crazy, bro.
I loved it.
Brilliant.
No, it's true. It's true. Everyone says that stuff too, but Chad actually believes it. It's pretty. Like I remember the real first time he really like. I was like, oh shit, this dude's different. We were doing stand up in Arizona. We were doing these shitty shows in Phoenix, and we had like 4 guys piled into a room, and Chad's like, hey, you want to go down to the pool and write jokes? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I thought he just meant smoke weed and swim. And then we went down there, and he was actually writing jokes. And then he did those better jokes that night at the stand-up show. And I was like, holy shit. I was like high on drugs in the back. I was like, this guy really works hard.
I think when I first saw JT, I was like, radical honesty.
I love that. Okay, JT, when did you know that you were first in love with Chad?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, that was probably one of the times when I was in Arizona with him and I saw him doing that. I think also one time he showed up at an open mic in a cowboy hat, and he was like, hey, I'm just wearing a cowboy hat today. And he wrote his name down as like a Western name. Like instead of writing Chad Kroger, he was like, my name's like Buffalo. And he got introduced on stage as that.
I don't remember.
And I was like, oh, this guy has like a very joyous approach to life. There was also a time where he had my laptop because I was trying not to watch porn, so I just gave him my laptop for like a month. And then I was like, hey man, can I get it back? I need to do some work. And then that day I was like this close to watching porn again. So I was like, hey Chad, I gotta give you my laptop back. Can I get the keys to your car to throw it in there? And he threw them to me real fast. He's like, throw it in there, bro. You're like, throw that fucking thing back in there. And I was like,
Aww.
good guy. I was like, he gets it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, probably all the. And there's probably a million
you.
more. Yeah.
that's adorable. Chad, when did you first know you were in love with JT? Your bro, your dog. Listen, we can man it up for you and say your bro, your dog. Or...
Yeah.
I don't think this is the first time, but this is one of the most memorable times. We were in Arizona doing stand-up, and he kept doing this impression. Like, there's so many times where you do impressions that just, like, I'll be, like, crying, laughing. I'd be like, for the rest of the day, I'd be like, can you please do that again? And he'd, like, do it, and I'm like, can you just keep doing that? I couldn't stop laughing. I think one time, like, we were, like, riding in a car, and he was like, you want to do improv together? And I was like, yeah. And we were just, like, doing improv, just, like, driving in the car. I was like, this is awesome. Whenever we do, like, a council thing together, it's always very, because we're both so stressed, and we kind of, like, stay apart from each other a little bit. Like, we'll practice, but we'll just stay out of each other's space, because our minds are just running. And then whenever you feel like just sharing that moment together. But I think also whenever he's always been so much more understanding at like a deep level of things I'm going through, which like it's tough for me to understand. But like, during like a breakup or like, with like the drinking thing or like when I was like trying to be more assertive, he's able to see me on a deeper level that I can't. And so I think those moments as well.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah. And true too to like I think Chad always saw me as like being like a more productive human than the one I was being. Like I was kind of a slacker when he met me, and then he was like, "No, dude, you could like work harder and you could like actually, do some good stuff." And to have someone believe in you like that was pretty huge. Yeah. It means everything to me, actually. It's kind of the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah.
I was like, funniest guy in L.A. That's what I said. I was like,
Maurici too. Yeah.
Yeah, Maurici, yeah. But, yeah. The whole crew. Strider too.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. Everybody. That's nice, though.
You know each other really well.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
You're reinforcing the
love. The love.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
That's nice.
It's nice to go back to times like Arizona and like those like first like...
we were like kids.
Yeah.
How young were you when you started?
Stand up?
Yeah.
I was 24.
Yeah, I think I was the same age. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a. But yeah, you think back to that like trip, and you're just like,
It was crazy.
it was crazy. I think that might. Should we do questions, or should we just get into beefs, babes, and legend? What do you think, dog? We're at 9.
We're at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Beast Babes and Legend.
Okay, let's do it.
But maybe we should quickly, because it's one of our
Right.
small dong shame. Well, what are your thoughts on small dong shame?
I had somebody who wrote to me, and oh my gosh, this lovely guy, and I couldn't even remember saying this. So he said that he read an interview of mine, and I had said, yes, size does matter. And I was like, shit, did I? I can't remember saying that.
Right.
And he said to me, thank you for being honest.
Right.
Because everybody else, every other expert says size doesn't matter. Well, quite frankly, it does. And so that made me really think. And so how I think about it now is, look.
That makes me so sad, though.
It is sad.
Not just because I have like a really little penis, but also just because like that the world is brass tacks like that a little bit. Like we want to believe that like, all right, if you're good with your tongue or if you're like a sweetheart, it'll make it. But there are a lot of people I've dated who are like, nah, like penis size matters to me, and that's just the way it is. But then I don't know. At the same time, I sometimes think if a woman loves you, she'll believe your penis is bigger than it is in her head. Yeah.
Well, you see, yes. So that's perfect. I love you for saying that, because it's like, number one, so on a thing, you can imagine your penis is bigger. First of all, like 90% of the nerve endings are not inside, they're outside. So let's concentrate where the magic is.
Right.
Number two, if you imagine you lived in a culture where they went, not saying yours is, but where they said like, oh yeah, 2-inch penis. Yeah, whoa, you're the greatest.
Yeah.
Would you feel the greatest? Yes, you would. Yeah. So again, the programming, the conditioning.
Right.
And my other point was, so yes, and she can, like, what you create together, sex isn't just, it isn't just
But
about
then the moment you
physical.
break up and they sleep with someone else, they'll remember. They'll be like, oh, actually his dick was really small. But when they're in the spell of love with you,
Yeah, but that's why
they'll
you're not,
believe it's-
and that's why
yeah.
you're not with them. So
Right.
that's fine. And that's just a projection
No, and it's
of
okay.
them.
It's okay for someone to.
But small in
Yeah.
comparison to what?
That's the thing too. I measure my penis, dude. It's like you can give or take an inch just on like how you decide to measure it. Like,
do you jam down?
yeah. Do you go into the base? Do you go to the side? Do you go? It's like it could be. The variance in how people measure it is inch to inch and a half, which is a big difference. That's 20% of the dong.
And here's my other thing, and I felt really clever when I came up with this, by the way, and I was like, So, in marketing, that you have these marketing strategies where you talk about, like, for example, with Twitter. When Twitter first started, it was like, right, if you have 1 million followers, then yeah, you can get a book deal, or yeah, you can get a TV show.
Right.
And then they realized, hold on a minute, 1 million followers, irrespective of whether, they're robots or this, but 1 million followers, no, we need them to be active followers, because if they're big fans, then they're going to buy the book.
Right.
So it's much better to actually have like the quality, like
Comments.
smaller number, but active.
But fervent fan base.
Exactly. So here's what I was thinking. If somebody has a small dong, what I would say is go online to a site where it is the small
The
dong.
women who love small dongs.
Women who love
Yeah.
small dongs, because they will be there. And there will
Fish
be
out of the right pond. Yeah.
raving
Why are you going
fans
deep
there.
sea fishing when you got a little lake rod? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got bait and tackle for freshwater fish, and you're out there trying to get some mackerel and tuna.
And then next
Yeah.
time you see Chad,
Off
you'll be
a
like,
fucking
oh,
45-footer.
you've got a normal sized penis. You haven't got a small dong. I feel so sorry
you know
for you.
what's funny? I've
Because
seen
he hasn't
Chad's
got
piece.
the, like,
I think
right.
it's pretty beefy, to be honest with
What?
you.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying
It's
is,
not a beef. Thank you for saying that, but
Yeah.
So anyway, so you go and find your hardcore fans, and then like whoever has a small dong, and then you just feel like great.
You know what happened to me too? The first time I got naked around other guys, I'm 15 years old, and I'm with my friend Clinton and Greg, and they'll both actually be embarrassed about this story, because I just don't think they want to be known for anything about their penis. But the truth is, they're both little guys. We were all like 5 feet tall at 15, so we were below the height curve. They both had huge fucking dicks. Greg's got one of the biggest dicks I've ever seen. Clinton's got one of the biggest and fattest dicks I've ever seen. I'm 15. These two guys are like 5 feet tall. They're like Danny DeVito's height. And I'm like, how the fuck are these guys' dicks? But in my head, I'm like, if these 5 foot guys have dicks that big, then my friends who are like 5'10", 6 foot, they must have double these guys' dicks. So I had a really skewed perspective on what everybody else's dicks would be. Yeah, which was really, it was kind of just bad luck.
yeah.
Just bad luck. I just had really well-hung friends who were short. Yeah. And it fucked up my head for years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, if these, you know.
And it's interesting
God bless
'cause
them
then-
too. They're both lovely guys.
But
you know?
are they growers? You see, that's the other thing that people don't. Take
I've never
into
seen
account.
them hard, but I gotta believe. It's big. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why some of them are kind of like not proud of when you say you have a huge dong, because maybe it's just not a. It's
And that's really, like,
I've heard Greg's try to say that. I would, so like literally we did this thing in high school where we'd like bully people for the things that were good qualities. And we'd be like, oh, you're so strong. What's it like to be so strong? Oh, you have such a big dick. What's it like to have such a big dick? And we'd make the people hate their good qualities. We were like, that's sophisticated
of
to
you.
bullies. Yeah. And then I remember we were at a party and I was talking about how big Greg's dick was. He just had enough. And he came running outside of the party and went, shut the fuck up. I don't have a big dick. But he does. It was nuts, dude. It was nuts.
Dude,
We
I've
made
heard-
him
I've
turn
heard
on his
about
own
it.
piece. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, God damn, this
And
huge
like,
hog.
and I feel bad. It feels this is what it is. It's reductive to talk about him as just having a big pecker, because he's like one of the most brightest guys I've ever met. Like super high IQ, super high SAT scores, super high like. Any kind of test you throw at him, he'll ace it. He just has crazy computing skills with his head. Like my dad threw numbers at him, and like Greg will just like spit them out fast. But
Wow.
but the thing I talk about the most is his big dick. Yeah, super funny guy. You know, he's got
That's
it
the
all.
first thing I think when I
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah,
I'm
he's-
like, oh yeah.
He's really handsome. He looks like Matt Damon. You know, he's a good-looking kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, great at Call of Duty, and he's a good friend. He's a really good friend of me too. All right. Should we get into our beefs, babes, and legends? Yeah. We ready? Yeah. Chad, who's your beef of the week?
My beef of the week. And sorry I sprung this on you like an hour before. I
no,
totally
it's
forgot.
cool.
My beef of the week, pretty simple. It's the movie theaters being closed. You know, I was with my buddy. My college friend came in town, and I wanted to relax. And I was like, oh, it's July. Like, I wish we could go see like a Michael Bay movie in theaters. Just eat popcorn. Go see Tenet.
Yes.
In theaters. Like, whenever I just want to relax and chill, I just love going to the theaters. And it's a weird thing. Like, that's one of the things that I haven't gotten used to, is like, oh, I can't go to the theater for a while.
Yeah.
Which
Such a good call.
blows, straight up. So, yeah, that's my beef. You know, pretty much the C virus. It's time to bail. You know, Tenet's premiere date got pushed back. I don't even know.
They said
When?
next year or something crazy.
Oh,
Just release it VOD, bro.
no, you gotta see that in theaters.
Yeah, I know. Fuck.
Yeah, it's all on IMAX too. You gotta.
Oh, for
you gotta
real?
see it in IMAX.
Damn it. I know, but come on. We gotta wait a year.
Dude, we should have had Top Gun 2 by now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was
A
in
Quiet Place
A
2.
Quiet Place 2.
Oh.
That was May 2nd. Mulan, live action Mulan.
That's
Mulan,
crazy.
what's that?
It's a Disney movie.
It's a great Disney
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. About a girl who pretends to be a guy so that her dad won't have to go to war with China to fight the Mongols.
To defeat the Huns.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
I don't know the words.
Did they send me daughters when I asked?
for
for
sons.
sons.
There we go.
That's a real banger.
Yeah, so that's my beef. Movie theaters. Pretty much my beef is not with movie theaters. It's with the C virus. Once again, you're a schmoll. time to get poked.
Amen, brother. Simone, what's your beef of the week?
My beef of the week is stupid news stories where I think Jeff Bezos is now like too much in my home thanks to Alexa pulling up this news story, and it was the big news story of the day. Dogs are gonna be too dependent and too connected post-coronavirus.
Right.
And I was like, hold on a minute. This is ridiculous. Dogs are always connected and loving. That's why they're called dogs, and they've got God in their name. And it bugs me because right now there's so many of us who obviously are disconnected, and now we're seeing a problem of being connected with our dogs. So that just annoyed me. So instead of like saying like a story of like go and like French kiss your dog and be happy, that would be nice and that would be good. They were just like made something out of nothing. So and obviously it is the C virus, which is just not going away anytime that I'd like it to in my head.
Yeah.
No, I saw that article too, and you look at it and you're like why?
Yeah.
Why?
For God's sake.
Yeah, like, what are you trying to do, you know?
Dogs aren't disconnected to start with.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not cats.
Yeah. The cats are funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay connected to the dogs.
Yeah.
I like that.
My beef of the week is I was watching a movie outside at my mom's house, and this like group of like just dangerous 12-year-olds appeared in the shadows over a gate, and they're like, "What's up, bro?" And I was like, "What's up, dudes?" And they're like, "Nice pool." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." They're like, "Can we do a backflip in it?" There was like 12 of them, and they were like, I could only see their silhouettes, and I was like, "Nah." And they're like, "Why not, bro?" And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I don't want one of you guys to like crack your dome, and then I'm liable, and I don't want 12-year-olds to come in here right now, like for a multitude of reasons. And then I'm like, "Nah, dudes." And then they're all like, "All right." And then there was the one mouthy one at the end who's like, "All right, later, bitch." And I'm like, "Come on, dude." And then he's like, "What? Are you pissed off now? Huh, you stupid bitch?" And then I was like, "Dude, come on, take the high road, bro. Why you gotta talk like that?" But I was being nice about it. I was kind of laughing. I was like, "Come on, dude." And then he was like, "Oh, guys, he's all pissed off now." And that's what got me upset, is that I wasn't pissed off, and then he labeled me pissed off, and that made me pissed off, I was being cool as fuck. And then I was like totally rolling with him talking shit to me. And then he still misconstrued it to his crew as me being like aggro. And I was like, that's not even fair, 12-year-old. And I tried to be like, "Dude, I'm being legit." And then he was like, "Fuck you, bitch." And I was like, all right, well, he's not really hearing me. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, and that made me think, I was like, and I want to get into the same kind of hysterics that, is motivating a lot of these news stories. But I was like, if these 12-year-olds don't go back to school, how soon before they gangify and they start going through the suburbs of otherwise nice towns, creating mayhem?
Doing backflips and
Yeah.
God knows how many pools.
Yeah, just freaking hucking gainers off roofs in every pool you care about. Yeah.
I mean, this neighborhood, no pool's going to be safe.
Yeah.
This is a tragedy.
Yeah. I'm concerned these kids might only be silhouettes. I don't even know if you saw them in the light, if you could see their flesh. They might be that dark at this point that they're, spiritually, that they're just silhouettes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're just little creepers, little creep outlines. Yeah.
I find it, look, I can't, it's that whole thing, we can't remember. Teenagers think they've invented everything. It's like, oh my God, sex.
Yeah, they think they're the
like,
first ones to talk shit. Yeah.
But it just sounds weird, like hearing like a 12-year-old go,
yes,
bitch. And it's like, huh? When did that happen?
I was 12 one time paintballing, and I kept cussing. And then this guy who was like a 4th grade teacher was like, "Do you know how stupid you sound when you cuss like that all the time?" I was like, "Jesus, bro."
Okay.
But now thinking back on it, I'm like, that guy was right. Yeah. But when you're a kid, you just don't hear where they're coming from. Yeah. You're like, "You sound stupid talking like that." Yeah. I don't know. All right. Chad, who's your babe of the week?
My baby of the week is, I call it the Corona 405. Dude, have you cruised on the 405
Bro.
lately? The Rona 405?
Rolling, dude.
This is the only thing I'm gonna miss about the city. I mean, I do kind of like all this time at home.
Yeah, no, I get it
there's no
now.
traffic.
Yeah.
The Corona 405 is, you get on that, you're like on the Autobahn just cruising. You know, I'd put on cruise control at like 90 and just get down to San Clemente in like 55 minutes.
It's the best.
I know. When have like we ever been able to speed
Yeah.
in LA?
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rona 405. That's going to be like a beautiful like part of something.
I
like
know.
A song lyric. Yeah.
For that brief week where I thought we were going back to normal,
Oh yeah.
I was kind of like, man, I'm going to miss the traffic.
Yeah.
That has been when the lockdown first happened, I got down to Newport in like 25 minutes or something. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the open roads.
That week was crazy when we were like, all right, everything's okay now.
Oh yeah. What was that like Memorial Day kind of?
Yeah, like a month
around
ago
there?
maybe. Yeah.
Hmm.
Who's your babe of the week?
Well, my babe is not. It's not new, and it shall continue. It's got to be the nurses.
Oh,
And that's
hell yeah.
whether
Hell
they're
yeah.
men or women, I mean, superheroes.
Yeah.
And continue to be so. And like they are working 24-hour shifts, and then thinking they've got a day off, and then being called back in, and sort of like, you know, what they see and with their equipment. And they just, I mean, they are going, as the Dalai Lama would say, they are going to the higher realms. They can enjoy whatever happens. So they are the babes. They are salt of the earth. So
Absolutely.
those are my babes.
My babe of the week is this guy Ray Bellucci, who I saw on Vice. He tried to do one of those like, you know, those like flaming lip balls that you like roll in, you run in and it rolls. He tried to do that from like the coast to Bermuda. And everyone was like, you can't do it. And he was like, screw you guys, I'm going for it.
Like a Zorb?
Yeah.
Oh,
and like
hilarious.
the Coast Guard was like trying to get him to stop, but it wasn't within their jurisdiction. They're like out there in the water like warning him. They're like, you can't do it, bro. He's like, everyone will tell you can't. You got to just go for it. And I think he ended up shooting off a flare because he almost died. But you know what? For every guy who makes it on one of those great adventures, there's a million guys who don't. And we got to respect the attempt, you know? And I love this guy. He's got a ponytail, and he calls himself an athlete, even though he looks like he's got 20% body fat. And he pushed the outside of the envelope. And I just, you know, the world needs more Ray Bellucci's.
That's the funniest image I've ever seen.
Dude, it's pretty hilarious. I'll
You
send
gotta
you
have
the
a
video.
dream, bro.
Yeah.
Shoots off a flare.
All right, never mind. Yeah.
They're like, dude, please don't do this. And he's like, fucking dude.
Literally, the Coast Guard's out there on a boat. They're like, stop, turn around. And he's just like, cruising. He's just, I'm going to go. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, man.
Chad, who's your legend of the week?
I want to do that guy.
He's a beast.
My legend is this dude, Dolan, who I met at Razzmatazz in Barcelona.
Yup.
Dude, Dolan is a beast. And I only spent like one night with him, but like the dude, he told me all about how good he is at grilling. And he just fired me up. He's like, I do spices, rubs. I make a pork butt that will just blow your mind. And I was like, I've only dreamed of grilling like Dolan can. So Dolan, and I know he's going through a breakup right now, so, you know, I wish I could be there for him because I think it would really strengthen our bond because we only spent one night, you know, just chatting about grilling. But he's just a beast, dude. And, yeah, Dolan, what up, dude?
Beast.
Stay on the grill, my man.
Love that.
Throw a fillet on there.
My legends are 3.
Oh, wow.
And be greedy.
Triumvirate.
So we have Chad, we have JT,
What up?
and we have Ricky Gervais.
Oh, nice.
wow.
Cool.
And,
Good company.
And for you sending a Scientologist into, I mean, not sending a Scientologist, you didn't do that. No, for you just like the last little bit where you ventured into City Hall with your masks on, making us all laugh, and just, I think it's so interesting. And Ricky Gervais, I always watch his little bits, and he's interacting with dogs, and the dog is going, "Listen, you fat fuck," and he's like, "God, even dogs don't respect me." But it's Ricky Gervais's laugh, and just like
that's not it. I can't do it.
I know, it's just like this sort of chimp human. I mean, it's just brilliant, and I think it's so interesting, sort of with regards to like what we all do, sort of, as in, like, I'm there sort of, wanting to help people feel their best, and you're there helping people feel their best because you're helping people laugh and get beyond or get into actually that present moment. And that's such a gift. The first thing I will do in the morning is watch comedy. Oh my gosh, it's the thing that just helps me go, right, okay, it's going to be okay. And then I'll get into my breath work and stuff like that. But I need that comedy, and I think it's the way forward. And so thanks. It's absolutely, keep working, keep making us laugh. And like hearing how Ricky Gervais sort of talks about, he was saying like it takes him 5 years or 4 years or whatever, or 3, to write a stand-up show, and like how much that goes into it. And obviously you giving us behind the scenes information here when you were saying about when you go and do your City Hall bits, and how or your Fox News bits, like how intense that is and how much goes into it, and sort of all these like different multiple layers that just us watching it, just we experience it, but we're not there unpacking it. And it's so important, because I really do believe, like, laughter, what increases our immunity? That's my other beef. We're not talking about, hold on, let's like optimize our immune system. We're talking about, oh my God, so many people have died. Well, why don't we talk about, do you know what? Watch something funny. Go and watch puppy videos. Go for a walk, chill with your dog, walk barefoot in the park, do something nice. Don't take shit from like 12-year-olds and laugh about it and go, and
right.
Actually, it's comedy, laughter. It's so important. And if there's one thing that's going to get us through it, and one thing that I would say is similar to with Ricky. Ricky, you'll get that if you lived in England. It's like there was EastEnders. It was a sitcom, not a sitcom, a soap. Anyway,
right.
There was a guy called Ricky, and his wife was called Bianca. Ricky, but anyway, it's wasted here. Know your audience. There's my open mic bit. Radio silence. I'm prepared.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chad, I enjoyed it. But it's one thing that I get from Ricky Gervais is, yes, he has that sort of like that bite, that edge. I think he is a sweet sweetheart. When he talks about animals and just like I just think, and you guys have that, and when it's to me, it means so much having the laughter, but then also like just that heart, and I just think that's what's going to get us through this.
Oh, that's
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's very generous.
So,
Thank you.
Continue.
Thank you.
Will do. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. That's really too kind.
Yeah.
Not too kind. Truth.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that watching comedy in the morning, like I'll watch like Best of Homer Simpson, and it's just like it just puts you right in the right. You're like, all right.
Yeah, gets you in state. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because
yeah.
I do breath work too, and like but it's hard to get me to that.
Yes.
Like the motivation.
Yeah.
But then watching comedy, it is just such like a kind of an icebreaker to whatever malaise you're.
Yeah,
having.
because what are we? What were we as kids? We just laughed.
Yeah.
We irrespective, you will see a child or you'll see a baby like laughing, giggling, just full of joy. So when we can get to that state, then we can we get to our natural state, and it's wonderful.
That's true. My legend of the week, because we were talking about coronavirus kind of stealing time or stealing professional experiences away from us is Muhammad Ali. Because, he's probably the greatest athlete of the 20th century. Maybe Michael Jordan had better on-court production relative to each of their sports. But I think Muhammad Ali is probably the most iconic sports figure of the 20th century. And it's because of, he stood up for more than sports. He lost 3 years in the prime of his career. I think like 27 to 30. Those are probably your best boxing years. Because, he didn't want to go to the Vietnam War, so they took away his boxing license and he risked going to jail because it was just against his ideological beliefs, and he stood up to the government. He ended up being able to come back to the sport. And, he was a different fighter at that point. He didn't have the same foot speed. He had to rely a little bit more on like his in-ring savvy. And he still had some great victories over Joe Frazier and George Foreman, but who knows what his career could have been in those 3 years had he been able to fight. But we don't really even care about that because he stood for so much more than that. And I think...
Gosh, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a big part of like his, huge legacy. I mean, his legacy has so many chapters to it, but that's a big chapter of it. And then he, I think not all of us can be Muhammad Ali, but we can learn from him and then think about this time as, while it's challenging to us, it's like, or Ted Williams, one of the greatest baseball players ever, fought in the war. He was a great fighter pilot. MJ took 2 years off to play baseball. All these great athletes, they had breaks in their careers. And so right now we all just might be having our break. And if we can fill it with good time, it'll be a nice addendum on our badass Wikipedia page at the end of our life. So, yeah. And then, I love Ali. He's just the greatest.
Muhammad Ali is really interesting. He uses a technique. One day I'll have to show you guys where basically I teach people, I call it sort of we learn to time travel, but it's basically we use our mind in a particular way. And what he used to do, he said that he was so good at and so accurate at the shots because he could leave his body, go round to the do you know this?
No.
Round to the opponent, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
The opponent's back. And he could see from the back which muscles were moving.
Oh,
and
wow.
How where he was going to be hit. And that's how he could duck.
Right.
So he used his mind in like an amazing, just like our mini version earlier, where you could point, he basically time traveled. And so he was able to see from the muscle movements, and that's how he could duck.
Ali Boumaier. All right, Chad, what is your quote of the week?
My quote. So I've been doing movies. I started with Van Wilder. Now I'm on to American Pie. And so this is the part where Jim got caught, boning the pie.
Oh yeah.
And so he and his dad are standing there looking at it, and he's just standing there in shame. And his dad, who's probably one of the best movie dads ever, he goes, "Well, just tell your mother that we ate it all."
Simone, what's your quote of the week?
I'm going to have to remember it because my phone's on the floor, but it's actually from... It's from Joseph Campbell. And
nice. One of my all-time favorites.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing. And it's let go of the life. It's let go of the life you think you want. It's something like this. In order to have the life that's waiting for you. And so for me, that is very now, which is what do we need to do? Let go of the life that we're used to and let's just see what this new experience brings, because soon, please God, we will be in some kind of normalcy where we won't have to speak through perspex screens.
Yeah.
Won't have to be the people, or maybe, I don't know, maybe, did you ever see, there was a channel I used to do voiceovers for, and they had a show called The Boy in the Bubble, and this poor little kid had, he was allergic to so many.
The Travolta movie?
Yeah, I think, somebody told me that they did.
The Boy in the Plastic Bubble?
There we go. But this was like the real life version.
Yeah, the 60 Minutes version.
So, So hopefully we won't all be like in bubbles, walking our dogs in like bubbles, and we will be sort of back to normal. But I think it's a really good experience and challenge and, of being able to just let go of expectation, watch comedy in the morning, get our wisdom from Homer Simpson, and just swim in the pool and stick your finger up to the 12-year-old kids and going, there's a backflip.
Yeah. F those 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
My quote's from Oscar Wilde.
Oh.
I might have said this one before, but I've always liked this
Legends.
one. I picked it up from Stephen Fry, too. I heard him say it in a panel. Oscar Wilde said, if you want to be a grocer or a general or a politician or a judge, you will invariably become that. That is your punishment. If you never know what you want to be, if you love what some might call the dynamic life, what I will call the artistic life, if each day you are unsure of who you are and what you know, you will never become anything, and that is your reward. Nice.
Oh. Can I have a second quote?
Yeah.
Just to add to what you're saying. Now, this I don't want to muck up. It's by Rumi, and just to add to what you were saying, hold on, here it is. Rumi said,
I think I'd like this. I don't know Rumi, but everything I hear from Rumi,
You know it's gonna be deep.
yeah, it sounds,
Rumi,
yeah,
just beautiful.
exactly, yeah.
let's be nothing. I heard it lasts forever.
Whoa.
Cool.
Oh,
And that was my
dude.
second quote.
Man, I'd love to just
Isn't
smoke
it?
a bowl with that guy. Yeah.
So there we go. I
That's
like
awesome.
that.
Chad,
Nice quotes.
What's your phrase of the week for getting after it?
There's a fiesta. We're going to Studio 54.
Love it. Simone, what's yours?
I don't think I have one of those, but I'm going to second what Chad said because that is just amazing, and I'm telling every woman I know. Fiesta and Studio 54, here we come.
Love that. Mine is from my buddy Rossi. It was his last day lifting with the crew on Sunday before he heads back to his regular home in New York. And he put up some massive weight. He was flinging around those 44-pound kettlebells, doing snatch lunges and different variations that I hadn't seen. It was pretty impressive stuff. And then before he said goodbye, he said, sleep easy and lift heavy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Ross is a beast.
He's a fucking great guy, right?
Yeah.
I like that because that's
Yeah.
to me, that's a metaphor as well.
Yeah, it's like all the
I mean,
life
it's-
in there.
Yeah.
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 And yeah, he embodies it. So I hope, he just got back to New York today. Glad you got home safe, buddy. I'll see you in Call of Duty. And we're going to do Zoom workouts. We're not done lifting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the lifting doesn't stop. The work's not done.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, Simone.
It's been so great. You've been so
Thank
lovely.
you.
This was so
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you. I've had
I
a
feel like
blast.
we've done couples counseling before, but that kind of had the.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was
I
fun.
I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe next
good.
time we'll do it with Aaron, too, and get all supercharged on that hottie over
Yeah.
there.
Family.
Yeah.
I'd like to break down those walls.
Yeah, let's get over there. He's got some computers blocking him right now, but I got eyes on his forehead and I want to lick
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh.
Once we get behind there, we're gonna realize that he loves In and Out.
Yeah. He's shaking his head now. Of course he is.
No way.
All right.
Oh, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back. This is so much
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get to some
Thank you.
listeners'
I'd love
questions
it.
next time. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. All right.
All right. See you later, Stokers, and write a review.
Oh, Chad, should we cut an ad now, too?
Oh, yeah.
If you need advice, these guys are really nice.